We're also going to get into the Andrew Wilson, Dave Wood debate, because I actually think, and this maybe I'm crazy, but from what Andrew Wilson told me, my tweet might have actually affected the way that he began his debate, which is crazy. If my tweet is what made Andrew Wilson begin his live stream or his debate with David Wood the way that he did, that's crazy. So I'm actually going to start with that. And then also we've got a Catholic brother who wants to come up here and talk about Sola Scriptura. I told him I'd be live at 9 o'clock. So he wants to come up and debate / discuss that. So we'll see when he shows up. I'm actually going to put the link to join here. If any of you guys agree with me or disagree with me on anything that we talk about tonight, you guys are free to join. Would love to have some company. Again, agree or disagree. So let me get the link to join here. 1 second. And I'm going to paste that in. Where is it? There we go. Copy. Join here. All right. There you guys go. If anybody wants to join, I'm going to pin that comment here on YouTube. And then we're going to go over this Ortho Bro crash out. Because honestly, it's a little bit ridiculous if you ask me. It's like on the verge of laughable. And so, yeah, we're going to cover that. 1 second. Let me pin this really quick on the live. Appreciate you guys joining me. Pin that. All right. So it all started. Right around here where David Wood and Andrew Wilson got into a little spat on X. You guys know how it went down. Andrew Wilson is an Eastern Orthodox guy. He's also a supporter of Jay Dyer. And Jay Dyer has been in the public light for a long time now. And he has been the Ortho Bro, right? That's what we call them. And the Ortho Bros are basically just Orthodox guys who run their mouth in an ungodly way, right? That's how we see it, especially as Protestants. Is like these guys are they're just belligerent, and vulgar in the way that they talk. And so anyway, David Wood comes to God Logic's defense when the Ortho Bros criticize or actually join with the Muslims in criticizing God Logic. Because remember, Jay Dyer said, if you want to do apologetics, he said this to God Logic, you need to be a part of the Orthodox Church. Otherwise, you cannot be doing apologetics. Now, of course, I understand why he says that, right? I understand it. Because if you're Orthodox, you don't believe that Avery is a part of the one true church. You don't believe that Avery has any assurance of salvation. And so since that's the case, then you would probably and rightfully maybe even say that Avery needs to come to the one true faith, which of course we would disagree with that. But the problem is that in order to do that, Jay is like commenting on all of these Dawa guys' posts, bingo, yeah, that's right, agreeing with them. And David Wood says, that's not helpful. You affirming these guys, I don't like David's saying, look, I don't care if you have a problem with God Logic. I don't care if you have a problem. You want him to come to Orthodoxy, whatever. I mean, we don't like it that you're telling him to stop. But the fact that you would then comment on these Dawa guys' posts, the very ones who we're all trying to take down here, because Islam is the greatest threat to Christianity worldwide. It seems like it's kind of going against the primary objective here. So David Wood has this debate set up, and I make this tweet right here. Well, Andrew doesn't exactly reply to that one, but I make this tweet. It gets like 30,000 views, which is kind of bonkers for me. Let me go down to it right here. Man, I talk a lot. Let's see, where's it at? Right here. This was mid-debate. I was like halfway through the debate, and I said, David is winning, Andrew looks bad. like 53,000. Okay. Before that, I post right here. Here's how this will go. Andrew will change the prompt. David will call him on it. Andrew will whine about the prompt being stupid. David should hold his ground and Andrew will lose. That was my prediction for the debate. Okay. What's funny about this is the prompt is kind of nuts. Here's the prompt, the topic of the debate. Should Orthodox Christians support the lies of Dawagandists who promote violence against Christians and threaten to rape women? Which is like, it's such a rhetorical prompt, right? Because the answer is clearly no. But Andrew Wilson just wanted the debate with David Wood so badly that he just agreed to the crazy prompt, right? And he said as much. In his comments, he said as much. Here's what he says. He said, okay, let's do tomorrow. I'll even take the BS prompt just to watch you evade the actual topic when I bring it up. So I comment on this, right? And I read this and then I make this post. Here's how it'll go. Andrew's going to try and change the prompt. Then I said it again here. Notice how he primed his audience for the sleight of hand. He will change the prompt mid-debate. And if David calls him on it, he'll say, I told you he would evade, Anyway, the debate goes on. And the very first argument out of Andrew Wilson's mouth, the great Andrew Wilson, who, I'll just be honest, I like the guy. I think he's a great debater. I appreciate him. But the very first words out of his mouth are sticking so close to the prompt that it's idiotic to listen to. And so I said, David is winning. Andrew looks bad. Then Andrew Wilson, after the debate is over, I'm going to show you exactly what he says in the debate. Andrew Wilson posts this. He says, well, the opposite happened. He comments this on mine. He screenshots my other tweet and says, the opposite happened. I played you tards like a fiddle. And so what's funny to me is like, maybe there's like a 1% chance. There's a 1% chance that Andrew read this message, and maybe it's more than 1% because he clearly had this, right? He knew about this, read this message, maybe the other one, and might have changed his debate tactic, might have decided to open up his debate the way he did because of what he read from me here, which is hilarious because I'll just be honest, it looked way worse on him. It would have been way better for him to just open the debate and actually debate the substance of it, not stick so close to the prompt because it just ended up looking so silly. So I comment back. What did I say? How do I do it? There we go. Nope, that's not how you do it. What? I don't even know how to work the freaking computer. How do I click on this to see the replies? Oh, they're already here, idiot. Okay, sorry. So I said, LOL, we all saw you lose, Andrew. The first 15 minutes were especially bad. You totally lost the plot. I think you're brilliant, but not tonight. He said, can you at least admit you were wrong? And I said, sure. I'm happy to admit I was wrong. Man. It turned out way better for David in the end. All right. Now, to all of those who then proceeded to reply to me and say, well, David was the one who picked the prompt in the first place. David was the one who asked for this. Look, David threw out a random prompt it was a rhetorical prompt. It was rhetorical. It was humorous the way that David threw it out. Andrew's like, I'll debate you on this. Let's do this debate. And David Wood's like, sure, let's do it on this topic because this is my problem, that you're supporting the lies of the Dawagandists. And Andrew's like, sure, I'll take it, right? And he just jumps on it. And so everyone's saying, David was the one who actually, asked for this prompt. It's like, yeah, he did. He did. Rhetorically. And Andrew took him up on it. And then Andrew proceeds to stick so close to the prompt. So let's go over here. Let's go over here to the debate, the actual debate here. Let me share this with you guys. Let's watch this together. All right. Here we go. Let me get the right one here. All right. Beginning of the debate. Let's review this.
TikTok time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching from all over the world. Here with Andrew Wilson. He's already live on his channel. And for all you internet X drama fans and so on. We're going to have a little debate on this topic. I'm going to start off, try to keep it under 10 minutes. I'll try to keep it as short as I can, but I won't go over 10. And after that, Andrew can take up to 10 minutes to respond, and then you can kind of do it how we want. If we want a discussion or do it timed or whatever, we can. I'm pretty happy with everything. You good with everything?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, guys. So had a little issue that arose earlier, and let me take everyone back.
Let's skip some of this.
Said dealing with a new generation of Christians is going to come along, and
Can you guys hear this, by the way? Can you guys hear the audio? Drop in the chat.
they're going to do it better than we could, because the foundation will already be laid in apologetics and polemics, and they don't have to learn the technology like some of us old people had to learn back then. They'll be kind of raised in it. So predicted that they would do it better. And all of a sudden, over the past 5 years or so, we get this new generation of Christians, and yep, they're crushing it. And they took over Speaker's Corner from the regular Dawa guys and so on, taking over.
All right, David goes on like a history lesson talking about the history of Dawa. We don't need to talk about that. Here he goes over kind of the history of the claim.
So it's because you're jealous. And then, of course, he doesn't like when someone's doing it to him. So that's Jay's response. But interestingly, the Muslims involved in the whole situation are really rooting for Jay here. So Dr. Malik says, it's about time Jay Dyer said this about logic, the grifting from him. And then Acts 17, David trying to play the race card. Pathetic. So they're saying Jay is right. And by the way, Malik is the guy who doxed my wife earlier this year, put her phone number on Twitter, her home address on Twitter. I mean, on a
little backstory about David Wood. David had to relocate his family because Malik doxed his entire family. So they had to move to a new city and relocate. So that's a little bit of the backstory that's going on here. He basically tells the story, and I've already given it to you guys kind of in a short version, but essentially he's upset that the ortho bro culture, regardless of whatever their critiques were of Avery, did so by siding with the very people that he's spent his life trying to take down. Okay, that's what David is upset with. David is upset, he says it right here, you're siding with the Dawa guys who are lying about God logic because he's destroying Dawa. David's saying, look, the only reason the Dawa guys are on Jay Dyer's team is because Jay Dyer criticized God logic. They just want God logic gone. They don't care about you ortho bros. But the minute that you ortho bros have a common enemy with the Dawa guys, now they're all about you. That's the problem that David Wood has. Okay? So David's saying, I don't like seeing you guys team up with somebody, regardless of whether you have a common enemy. Okay? It doesn't matter. You can have a common enemy, but don't team up with the very people that we are trying to take down, who are leading people away from Christianity. Does that make sense? So, I mean, think about it like on a national level, right? Like it's not good to team up with someone who has been your enemy, been an enemy of America, to take down a common enemy, right? This is everybody's argument about Israel right now, right? And I'm not gonna weigh in on that. This isn't a political stream, but that's the whole argument, right? Is why would we support a country that doesn't support us back to take out a common enemy? It doesn't make any sense. So that's David's like core problem here. That's what he doesn't like about what Andrew's doing. Let's get to Andrew's response here. I don't know why my internet.
The moral conundrum, David. Knowing that he is a Darwinist who threatened to grape women and wants violence. It kills
this is the part that's hilarious to me. It's so funny that Andrew starts off this way. Cracked me up.
You all good?
Yep.
Okay.
Andrew's so smug. He's so smug. sometimes. It's great. I always cheer for Andrew's smugness when it's against some crazy leftist liberal. But the fact he should have turned it down a little bit on this debate. He didn't, though. That's fine. He can do whatever he wants.
So I don't know about any of this shit because I was asked to come on and debate a specific prompt. That prompt specifically has nothing to do with any of this. Nothing. The prompt is, should Orthodox Christians support the lies of Dawanists who promote violence against Christians and threaten to rape women? That is the prompt we agreed to, correct?
Yep.
Okay, great. And you're affirming that they should not, obviously, right?
I would say they should not.
Okay, great. So my position on this, since you're trying to burden shift to Jay Dyer or something, which is strange because your audience was just adamant that I would be the one who shifted the burden, yet it's you. I would say sometimes they should. And I brought 3 logical examples.
So now he's going to bring his 3 logical examples as to why sometimes you should support the lives of Dawa bros. Watch this. His first example is abysmal, by the way. Very beneath him, in my opinion. All the respect to Jay, but his first example is not great.
For the 3 times that sometimes they should. The first is a legislative example. Dearborn, Michigan's new representative, let's say Muhammad Oman, husband, brother, cousin to Ilhan Omar, has threatened to physically assault and rape Arizona's Orthodox Christian woman, Christina, who has also said he secretly loves Planned Parenthood because it kills the white Christian babies. Though his supporters don't like this, in an attempt to garner more support, he proposes the No More Abortion bill, which unsurprisingly bans abortions nationally. This will only be able to pass due to him getting support from his wife and her getting the rest of the squad to flip, causing it to barely pass the House and likely go through the Senate. Should she support this bill and his lies to ban abortion as an Orthodox Christian, knowing that he is a Dawanist who threatened to rape women and wants violence on Christians? Or should she go against this lie and allow millions of unborn babies to die? There's a moral conundrum, David. Should the Orthodox Christian in this scenario support that Dawanist and his lies or not?
So, so at this point, I'm gonna speak as someone. Let's put it this way. Andrew is coming here with a very specific mission. He wants to take that crazy prompt that no one thought he could debate on, that prompt, and he's going to prove a point, by golly. He is going to prove that he can debate on that prompt, and he's going to concede. He's going to get a concession from David Wood, the great David Wood, okay? The funny part is, in doing so, he loses the plot of the entire debate. Nobody in the comments section for the first 15, 20 minutes, Andrew had better points later in the debate, but for the first 15, 20 minutes, every single person in the comments section was, David, Andrew, this is insane. This is ridiculous. Now, his first example, it's crazy because you don't have to support or affirm a lie to support this piece of legislation. It's like a total false dichotomy. I can 100% know somebody is lying and still support their legislation, and my support of their legislation has nothing to do with my support of their lie. Absolutely nothing. And David says as much, and Andrew moves on to a new point. David does not concede this first example. He does concede later in the debate, after a couple more examples, that sure, sometimes you could. I personally probably would not have conceded that because I don't think that the lie is ever the same as like the thing that Andrew brings up. The only circumstance that you could say it's okay to affirm a lie would be like, let's say, the famous example of like you're hiding some Jews in your attic and the Gestapo comes to your door, right? And they say, are there any Jews here? What do you say? That's the common example. Everyone says, is it okay for a Christian to affirm a lie, right? Is it okay for a Christian to lie? Andrew does not use nothing near that example here. So I don't agree that David needed to concede that point. He did, but again, it didn't matter. David could have just literally conceded the point right from the beginning and said, yeah, you're right, because the point was literally a joke anyway. It was literally an absolute crazy prompt that he threw out there because he's like, no one's ever going to want to debate this. And yet Andrew decides to debate it. But because everybody knows that the prompt is just crazy, the fact that Andrew actually tries to debate it is more insane, right? So honestly, Andrew's kind of in a catch-22, because if he doesn't debate the prompt, then everyone's going to say, oh, you dodged the prompt. If he does debate the prompt, people are going to say what I'm going to say. And both sides would be correct. There's no way for Andrew to come out on top in this debate. My opinion is that Andrew should not have accepted this debate in the first place. I think that was a silly move of him. So then we have Sam Shamoun. Let me see if I saved Shams here. Sam's, yeah. So Sam Shamoun jumps in that exact same thread. And he says, spoken like a cult follower, Wilson wrecked rapist Wood and used his own arguments to prove he is a cult follower and his own God. Now, I will just say I did not watch the last 3 hours of the debate. I watched about an hour of it. So I was not in on all of the cult following stuff. He even embarrassed him by bringing up his raping of girls, which you dogs try to excuse by saying that he wasn't a Christian back then, as if this is an excuse of his accountability before the law. Cope. Well, first of all, David has time and time again confessed to this sin. He has talked about it openly, publicly, said that he would even to this day go to jail for that sin. So I have no idea what Sam Shamoun is talking about, because David has himself, no one has criticized David Wood more than David Wood. That's a fact. Nobody has. So I responded to him. Do you know who else is the accuser of the brethren? And this is my main issue, is that guys like this, guys like Sam, will continually bring up something that David Wood did that was wrong, that we all admit is wrong, that David admits is wrong, that David said he would go to jail for, that everyone says David could have gone to jail for. No one would have a problem with it. And if David went to jail for it tomorrow, I don't think any of us would have a problem with that. And yet, people like Bruce will continue to bring it up to undermine him. This is the issue that I have. It's not arguments. It's not logic. It's nothing like that. It is simply that he wants to undermine David by using his past sin, which has been forgiven by the blood of Jesus, and Sam agrees. Sam agrees that the sin has been forgiven in the eyes of God. So I guess his only problem now is that there was no physical justice served on earth through court of law. But again, no one's pressing those charges. So what's he supposed to do? He's spoken openly about it. He's told everybody about it. He said, I would go to jail for it. What else should he do? Nobody has been more critical of David Wood than David Wood. If you guys didn't catch the scripture reference, the accuser of the brethren is Satan. The Bible describes Satan as the accuser of the brethren. Okay?